wanted to talk to you about today is because we're doing grain-free baking, a lot of times recipes call for baking powder. Now, if you don't know the difference, I'll tell you. This is a little lecture series today. Baking soda is a chemical leavener, okay? It's the base for baking powder. So the difference between baking soda and baking powder is baking soda only needs acid to activate. So if you remember your science projects with the volcanoes, you put a little baking soda, a little vinegar, the vinegar is acidic, right? And poof, explode. That's what you're looking for in your baking. You want that explosion of carbon dioxide, which is what's gonna give your cookies and your cakes lift and make them nice and airy and chewable inside. Otherwise, they're gonna be hard as a rock. Baking powder essentially does the same thing, but it's double acting. So it already has the acid base. The problem with most baking powders, if you want to do grain-free baking, is they have cornstarch, and corn is a grain. So to avoid cornstarch, you can make your own baking powder with cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is a stabilizer. It's an all-natural ingredient. It's basically coming from the grapes process. So if you're making wine and the grapes are aging, then this white powdery stuff is what's stuck on the bottom of the barrels as part of the sediment. So it's completely natural and it is an acid base. So you can mix this with baking powder, with baking soda to make your own baking powder, and it's grain-free and it's natural. So typically the ratio would be 2-to-1 baking soda to cream of tartar. If your recipe calls for both baking soda and baking powder, then you would substitute this with the baking soda for your baking powder, and then you would do the additional baking soda to equal the same thing in your recipe.